Hi, my name is Tori Cooper, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative at the Human Rights Campaign. I am also very proud to say that I am the Executive Director and founder of Advocates for Better Care Atlanta, which is a small community-based grassroots organization dedicated to empowerment, education, and opportunities for trans folks. I started the work because it was just the right thing to do. Many years I volunteered. I didn't think it was necessary to use my voice. There were folks who were doing work, and much of my work was really focused around HIV. And then it became HIV and the intersection of trans folks and non binary folks. And when I moved to the South, I had been living in New York for a number of years, living and working in New York. And when I moved to Atlanta, I realized that my trans identity was more than just for me. It was my embracing of my trans identity was actually political. I realized with all of the privilege that I have in my life, identifying and navigating this world as a Black trans woman living in the South, who was proud and relatively well informed, and bringing all the privilege that I have to the table. I realized that it was important for me to give something back. And so I started doing the work. I did the work and started doing the work and continue to do the work because I realized there were people like me who may or may not have good subject and verb agreement, or who may not do as well in a job interview, and folks again who were just like me, who weren't being provided with the same opportunities, who were being discriminated against because of really superficial and stupid things. And so I decided the right thing to do was to use all of the privilege that I carry in life and use that to help others, because helping others who were like me was also helping myself. One of the things that needs to be accomplished in my field is that there are many more trans and non-binary folks who are employed at all levels. We trans people are resilient. We are resilient in spite of all of the crap. I was going to curse, but I didn't. In spite of all of the crap that we have to deal with and all of the policies that are anti-trans and anti-anything that is not cisgender and white and heterosexual and patriarchal. In spite of all of those things, we are still thriving and we are still here and we are still figuring out ways not just to stay afloat, but also to get ahead. So, what I would love to see in my field, certainly short term, medium term, and long term, I want to see more trans people engaged and also employed at every single level. There are trans folks who are involved in research. There are trans folks who are involved in community organization and community organizing. There are trans folks who are involved in HIV testing. There are also trans folks who are incredible office managers. They're trans folks who can and should be executive directors and presidents and vice presidents. They're also trans and non-binary folks who are amazing at numbers, who would make accountants and CPAs and all of these other things. And it's important to understand one of the best measurements of your success shouldn't be just in the number, but in the diversity of your team as well. And so I measure success in seeing folks who represent the communities that you're serving working at all different levels. And I believe that we have the capacity to do that, but I also think we need far more opportunities to do that as well. When I was a kid, I was a weird kid. I was raised as an only child. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be two things: a lobbyist and a wife. Yes, can you believe it? I wanted to be a lobbyist. I wanted to be a lobbyist. I didn't really like government because even as a kid, I believe that I thought the government was corrupt. And well, 45 has kind of proven that that's true. But as a kid, I wanted to be a lobbyist because when I learned about bills and legislature and policy and how influential lobbyists were, I realized that I could, being a lobbyist would allow me an opportunity to help shape the way that people who were like me were being viewed and how laws were there to protect even folks like myself, and how important lobbying and politics were, and making laws and creating laws and the passage and all of the business that goes around laws were. And I realized that being a lobbyist, first of all, you got paid well, but it was also a place where you could wield some influence, and really, really change the trajectory of how people's lives would turn out, simply by speaking on behalf of issues or against other issues. Without question, my favorite candy is Reese's Cups. Because with Reese's Cups, you get the wonderful chocolate and the delicious peanut butter, and they're mixed together. And, they're kind of representative of Black people. Some of us are a little darker than others, and some of us are a little nuttier than others. But when you mix us together, how wonderful it is. And I remember I posted a picture many years ago when I was finishing up in undergrad. I had a bag of Reese's Cups on my bed, and my goal was to eat about 3 of them. And by the time I finished writing this paper, I had literally eaten an entire bag of Reese's Cups. So I was a little sick of them after that. But that just shows you how good they are. I'm not sure that I have one hobby. My two favorite hobbies are, well, three favorite hobbies are listening to music, traveling, and shopping. And so anytime I have an opportunity to combine two or three of those at the same time, I'm all for it. I love to shop. First, I like to travel somewhere, and I'd love to have a headset on. I'm so old, I said a headset. But I love to have some earphones on or some earbuds on because this is the 21st century. And listening to some of my favorite disco and house classic mixes, and going someplace where I can put a credit card down and shop until I can barely walk, and then go somewhere and eat, and then shop some more, and then get back in a car or on a bus or on a plane or somewhere and get back where I started out. So then I can look and have a fashion show in my own closet. It's fun to me. Dollar sign ABCORG is Advocates for Better Care Atlanta's Cash App. Advocates for Better Care is committed to ensuring that trans folks have a voice, and that voice is heard and is amplified in every space that we go. 100% of all of the profits and proceeds that come to ABC Atlanta goes back and helps folks who are in the trans community. 100%. Since its inception, ABC Atlanta has coordinated and done trainings, educational trainings at all levels, everywhere from high schools to colleges and universities, health departments, with the federal government, all kinds of agencies all across the country. We have also, so we've provided capacity building assistance. We have assisted folks in their grant making. We have assisted folks in meeting their deliverables. We have assisting folks in finding out ways to engage and further the lives of trans people all across the country. Advocates for Better Care Atlanta, we have also paid bills for trans folks. We've paid cell phone bills and contributed to rents and made sure that folks have transportation and food. These are things that we're committed to doing. So any money and all money that goes to $ ABCORG, 100% of the profits and proceeds goes to help trans people. I cannot reiterate that enough. That's so very, very important. We don't have administrative costs. Sometimes we have to pay people, so I guess technically we do have administrative costs. But other than that, I started ABC Atlanta with money that I was making from my gigs. A lot of people don't know that, and so I was really, really fortunate. I had a regular job, and I started ABC Atlanta because I wanted to do more. And so it was a way I would take. I think the first year I spent about $30,000 that I had made personally from doing gigs, and then the second year was actually a little bit more than that. And all of that money, it went into this account, and I said, "Well, what can I do with it?" And so I created structure and created rules and on how we were going to spend the money and how we could use it. And what I am finding is that in our own quiet way, with very, very little publicity and fanfare, we are really, really impacting the lives of people. We are impacting the lives of trans people at all levels and all across the board. And it is something that I take great privilege in, great pride in. And what I intend to do is certainly in the next couple of years, we're going to start a capital campaign, a capital fundraising campaign. I'd love to open up a housing facility for trans folks as well. So $ABCORG is your best way to give. We take care of your money and we take care of our people.